Welcome back, everybody, to the Gurus on Reality podcast. Here we are reacting to Survivor, the October 22nd episode 5 of season 49. No, we are not smelly if you just watched our NBA opening slate recap video. We're doing a double recording today. We had to get all our thoughts in. Mike, Survivor, not as entertaining as that NBA opening slate, but an interesting episode nonetheless that we can at least sink our teeth into.
It was another predictable tribal council. Like, we're not going to spend much more time on that tribal council, but you lost another one of your fantasy players. That's back-to-back weeks where, unfortunately, just luck of the draw. It's just, both your guys are gone. Not to spoil things if who went home, but it was one of your picks, not one of my picks. But, man, just another kind of, I hate to say they're all filler episodes, but they're just, it's not really, there's not much strategy going on right now. There's not much.
Man, does it feel like it?
Yeah, and not necessarily, I'm not necessarily docking the vote outs. I think they're all correct in terms of, like, who they're supposed to be going after, but just there's not much gameplay from the people that you would think that would be needing to play the game. Like, there's not much going on from the people at the bottom trying to get themselves out of this position. It's a lot of predictable pre-merge stuff that happens on kind of the boring seasons.
Let's just dive right into it. Why waste any time? There's stuff to unpack here that I think we could at least spend some time on, at least if nothing else, making fun of it, because this feels like an episode that was super tone deaf across the board.
Yeah.
So we start out, the first thing we really see in this episode is Shannon trying to pitch a 2-2-2 secret alliance with the 11 people left to Steven, which is just blasphemous, and the 2-2-2 signifying each initial tribe. So trying to get two people from each initial tribe to band together and create the 6-person majority. I believe that was the line of thinking.
Yeah.
It seemed like from the edit that this was happening at like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning.
Crack it on.
Yeah. If I was Steven, I would have just shut my eyes and rolled over and just pretended I was asleep. But he was a good sport. He said yes to it, which is, again, what you have to do if you're in Survivor. But we didn't really see much of this throughout the episode. It was kind of a breadcrumb showing just, I wouldn't say paranoid, and I wouldn't even say playing hard, which is what some of the other contestants use later.
Right.
I just thought it was really out of left field. I thought it was totally random. I understand why they construed it as playing hard, but for me, it was more just not understanding Survivor. That's what it felt like to me. Because to me, playing hard is understanding the game, trying to kind of replicate someone else's game that you've seen prior, and just really do everything you can to put yourself in a better position. And Shannon technically was trying to do that, but it felt so half-baked. It felt so rushed. And that's kind of who she is as a person. It feels like at any given point, she'll just be sitting there, boom, the light bulb goes off, and then something crazy spews out of her mouth. And we get this 2-2-2 secret alliance. What did you make of that initially? Because to me, it was like, what are we doing? This is nonsense. This is ridiculous.
I have a bit of a different opinion on that. I think it's actually a smart move that she had to come up with this idea. I mean, it's not really an idea. It's happened plenty of times before. But to get a 2-2-2 and run it with 6 people, that you can run a merge like that with 6 people that actually trust each other. The problem here is she tells it to Steven, then she pitches the idea to Alex, and then she tells it to Steven and Christina right to their face together. So doesn't want to give Steven an opportunity to kind of clue into maybe who he wanted to include, which was MC. He obviously relays all this information right to MC. The problem with what she did, I don't think is creating a core 6. I do think a core 6 can take you past the merge, and you have to have people from different tribes. You have to work together with different tribes. That's kind of.
But even with 11 people left, do you really think that's realistic at this point?
Possibly, if she played her cards right, which she didn't. Here's the issue. Here's the issue. Everyone compared notes. So Steven went up to Alex, and Alex, by the way, was getting good vibes from Shannon because Shannon was the first person to talk game with him. He said it himself. He's like, "Hey, I'm on the bottom. I'm the only Kelly here, and Shannon's talking game with me. Heck yeah, I'm down." Then he's getting good vibes from Steven. They compare notes, and they're like, yeah, she's playing really hard, by the way. She said the exact thing to you. She said to me.
I want your opinion on this, Mike. Do you think them comparing notes soured their own opinions on Shannon a bit too much? Because it seemed like they liked her independently.
Yes.
And Steven was maybe a little turned off, but I still think he liked her as a human being and saw himself maybe working with her. But I felt like they took it as Shannon's trying to work with everyone, which I don't think necessarily was the case. It was just trying to work with them, and they almost took it the wrong way, in my opinion. So I thought in that way, Shannon maybe got the short end of the stick.
She did, but I think that her intentions were to have Alex and Sophie teaming up when they get back to the merge, Her intentions were to have Steven and one other original Hina member. I guess Christina, because she's really working. She likes Christina a lot, obviously. Her Shannon and Christina have a bond. But I think also Steven's bond is more with MC. So we'll see how that goes. But she was trying to get 2, 2, and 2. The problem is the second Uli member on her tribe, Sage, she was kicking so far under the bus, you couldn't even see Sage anymore. So who is the second Uli member from who was the second red member that she was going to put together?
I assume Savannah would be my guess.
But it was never really hinted at because she's not on this tribe. So the other people, the original Hina members, have no idea who Savannah is, really, because they've never spent a day on the same camp with her. So if you were going to pitch this idea, you maybe would want to do it with Sage. The problem is her and Sage have this underlying beef that's going on, and she wants Sage so far out of the game, and she's trying to make it like goodwill, like, hey, I'll vote out Sage for you guys. We can get out one of the red people if it's a color war. We can get out original Uli, and then we can make this strong 6. The premise was there. I think ultimately the playing hard thing, I don't know if she was necessarily playing hard. I think she had an idea, and unfortunately the wrong people, I guess, took it the wrong way.
I wouldn't even say playing sloppy. I'd say playing incoherent. She wasn't able to kind of show her strategy well enough. And I think that's just kind of a skill for life. Like if you do a presentation, it could be a good presentation, but if no one really understands what you just presented, then it doesn't really matter how well you articulated it. If you didn't relay the information well enough to those people to make them understand at the level you understand. Clearly she had an idea in her head, but they weren't able to kind of meet her halfway and understand what she was trying to tell them.
By the way, in the confessionals we get of her, she's kind of like telling us how smart she is and how she's concocted this idea. And she's kind of downplaying how dumb Sage is. And so she's like, yeah, Sage is just on for the ride. I'm outplaying her. I'm out socializing her. I'm getting to know these people. And then you get Sage's confessionals. And then Sage is comparing her to like a shark. She's comparing her to like this, like, you know, evil human being who's just going to lie and deceive her way Parvati style through the game. Like Sage like can't stand her. And Sage is like acting dumb, I guess, in front of the camera. And she's like, she thinks I'm dumb. I'm not dumb. I'm playing the game better than her. So we have this like rivalry between Sage and Shannon of like who's really not on the bottom. I think they're both on the bottom secretly, but I don't think either of them know it. They're both like, I'm running this camp from the bottom of where I'm at. And it's very, very strange because I think ultimately those 3 Hina members, MC, Christina, and Steven, are really dictating what's going on. They just said they had to never go to tribal. That's really the only issue here. They never had to go to tribal to test that, but they're the ones that make the decisions here if they were to lose.
I was just going to make that exact same point. I feel like Sage and Shannon are basically playing a very similar game, and they think kind of similarly about each other. They're just kind of approaching it differently. So you can kind of, you know, pick who you want is right or wrong in the situation. I'm going to say it again. I said it last week. You disagreed, but I feel even more confident now. This is just who Sage is. And that's just fine. That's fine. Sage is weird. It's okay that she's weird. But it's a little bit of a turnoff if you watch it long enough with like the over exaggerated faces. It's a little ridiculous to me. It's a little Mickey Mouse. And it's the same with Shannon. It's just who she is. She's just a spiritual person who's way too much. She's not really putting on a front. Maybe she's, again, increasing it given like what the other person will allow. So like you mentioned, Christina really likes her. Christina will allow Shannon to be more like spiritual and like, you know, an exaggerated person of herself. So she'll lean into it. But that's just kind of how people are. And I made the comparison to if there's a person that likes sports, I'm going to lean into that. And I'm going to talk about sports a lot. If there's someone that likes movies more, I like movies as well. I'm going to lean into that. It's just leaning into and trying to meet that other person. It doesn't mean you're fake. It doesn't mean you're a chameleon. You're just trying to kind of meet that person at what they like and their interests. I think Sage is kind of misreading that drastically. And I think Shannon, although it's annoying, and I can understand why Sage is annoyed by it, because I think Shannon is just too much as a human being. I don't think it's necessarily wrong. But for both of them to think they're in a power position, and for both of them to be so adamantly wrong, and to hate each other for basically doing the same thing to each other constantly.
I know.
It's one of the worst rivalries I've ever seen on reality television. I'm not invested in it. I don't think either of these players are going to go far. It seems meaningless. It's filler TV, as you mentioned off the top. I'm over this beef. I was over it last week, and I think by your shaking your head, you agree with me now, and you're kind of over it at this point.
Oh, I'm totally over it. It's like the Sacramento Kings and Phoenix Suns. Just we wrapped up our NBA episode last night. These two teams, maybe they don't know they're bad. They're bad. Shannon, I get where Sage is coming from when she says, because you saw in the edits at least, Shannon goes up to Alex. She's like, I feel the best vibes about you. me and you, Alex. And then she goes to Christina and she's like, I connected with you the most. And then Steven, she wakes him up at the crack of dawn and she's like, I want to work with you. Me and you are number one. So she's doing it to everyone. And I can see if you're from Sage's point of view, it looks like she's playing everybody. Like she wants to work with all of them besides Sage. From Shannon's point of view, it is just who she is. I mean, you're not wrong about that. She is a personable, bubbly personality. And clearly these styles are clashing because Sage, I guess, doesn't want that kind of bubbly personality on the same side as her. Maybe
she doesn't want happiness. Like what? I didn't know where you were gonna go there.
I don't know. She looks very. I mean, the entire episode was so over. I mean, look, the faces, the expressions.
Can I just tell you what it is, Mike? It's very clear. Shannon didn't like Sage. Sage didn't like that. So now Sage is trying to microanalyze everything that Shannon does.
Yes,
that's all it is.
That's all it is. And by the way, but they're being fake in front of each other. They're at the water well. They're like, oh, I love you so much. They're like they're like fake kind of kumbaya thing. But secretly they want to like, cut each other off before the merge. And it's just like, why don't we just get to that already? Like Sage, my issue with Sage here is because she's not actually playing the game. The confessionals would make you think that she's playing the game. Like the way that she's talking in her confessionals, that's what she should be doing. I don't ever see her talking to anybody. Like in camp, the only time that we actually got an actual conversation of her in camp, not the water well with Shannon, which was zero game talk whatsoever, but which was when Alex and Steven were comparing notes and they stumbled upon Sage sitting at the whatchamacallit, the camp in
shelter. And she made like a sly comment and Steven felt bad and they clued her in I think it was to kind of see where Sage was at with Shannon. I think they just wanted to play all sides there. I thought that was a good move from Steven at first. I was like, what's the point of this? And then now I realize they can kind of leverage Sage and Shannon against each other. Yeah, so if one kind of increases their importance level, I think Shannon in the competitions, as long as it's team-based, is way more valuable than Sage. So regardless of what you think about her personality, I think she's a winner right now. I think she's competitive. I think she does well in these challenges. It's a little bit under the radar, but I think she's valuable in that sense.
But you also saw MC. Remember, whenever I believe that they're gonna lean Shannon if they had to ever go tribal, they would lean keeping Shannon. But then Sage spills the beans that Rizzo has the Uli immunity idol.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. I do want to talk about that. But for me, just finishing my point here, you can kind of leverage them off each other. If you think Shannon's more important from a winning comp standpoint, Shannon wants Sage out really, really bad. And you worry about what Shannon is after that. You can also cut her off. Sage, I guess she's better for camaraderie, but she's kind of useless in the comp. She's kind of useless around camp, it feels like. I'm not really sure why they wouldn't just cut her off and deal with the Shannon problem afterwards. I guess then they're just scared of a merge and Shannon kind of slipping through the cracks. I get it. Whereas Sage is at best a GOAT, at worst just an easy vote out at any point. She has no win equity whatsoever. So
right. By the way, I don't know if you saw the previews. I'm not going to spoil it if you didn't, but did you see? So real quick, did you see the previews for next week?
Yeah, I did.
So you do know that they're going from 2 tribes to 3 tribes again.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna see how this unfolds because now there's 12 people left. There's gonna be 3 tribes of 4. So we'll see how.
I wanted to save that for the end.
Right. I did too, but I was because we were hinting if they go back to tribal council who they're gonna vote out. But obviously, knowing what we do now in the previews, there's 3 tribes.
True. Yeah.
So yeah, for sure. But I do agree.
We don't have to dumb down the audience. They know what we know.
They know what we know. Yeah, but theoretically, if they were to lose another tribal and it would be Shannon or Sage, then this is what we're talking about hypothetically. If that was to happen, so I agree. I mean, they're going to cut one of those 2. It'd
be kind of hilarious if they stayed together, wouldn't it? That'd be kind of funny.
By the way,
they were forced to be together.
I can spoil that too if you want, because they do stay together on the tribe swap. They're on another one together. So yeah, they're on that one too. On the tribe before we got Sage and Shannon on the same tribe, according to what we saw in the preview, but.
Well, that'll be a problem we talk about next week. But
yes, it will.
I want to get into the journey here, which was stale city, just absolutely stale city.
You didn't like it?
They have no. I hated the whole thing. MC and Nate go on the journey. Nate does a hilarious job where he's like, "Oh no, Jason wants to go on this. I'm gonna have to pretend I want to go on this, even though I don't." And then shout out to Jawan, maybe one of the most intelligent things you can do on your feet. And
purposeful rock draw.
He picks the rocks and says, we're going to pick rocks. He sabotages it. If I'm Jason, I'm like, I'm going to need to see these shuffled around a little bit. I would have maybe tried to sniff this out, but he didn't. He's all trusting of Juwan. I thought that was funny. But anyway, the actual journey itself, they're moving the sandbags. There's this element where they have time to look for the idol, but they have to finish the sandbags first. To me, it's you're getting punished until you finish something rather than
Correct.
having a chance at a reward and then maybe one of the people being punished afterwards. That's what's annoying to me. I'm sick of the losing the vote gimmick. I'm sick of potentially losing the vote gimmick for no reason.
For no reason
I'm
at
sick
all.
of the reward not being apparent. Like, why wouldn't one of them get the award after the challenge or something? I don't know. There's ways to do this. Like, the faster you finish the challenge, the more time you have to find the reward. And then if you don't find the reward, it's no harm, no foul. Something like that. It's just, I'm sick of the way it's kind of set up. I thought the intro between Nate and MC was interesting.
Yeah.
I enjoyed them getting to know each other and that maybe being a breadcrumb down the line. But as far as like the actual challenge having like no consequence unless it does, and then testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Was that Jeff Probst trying to cut me off?
You were trying to cut you off, I think.
Unbelievable.
We don't like the
All I
journey,
was
Jeff.
saying was
Jeff,
we lost nothing there. All I was saying was that it's either there's no consequence and then it's pointless, or the consequence is so severe that it's actually ridiculous. Those are kind of the only things we teeter between. I liked Nate making the move where he kind of lied about how much time was left. I thought he was going to like shake it or something a little bit to kind of like actually make less time be there in the hourglass. I thought it was kind of weird. He just lied to her.
Yeah.
And then she's like, wait, what? It worked because I think she was just tired and didn't want to argue. But
of course, yeah.
Yeah,
but,
what did you liked the challenge? I know you like the people involved, but
no. I like these are two of my draft picks. So I just wanted to say once again, MC just dominates the challenge. And she basically did all the sandbags herself. I mean, from the edit, it was like Nate's just like walking and she's like putting this ridiculous pace on. But I think it was interesting, the underlying stuff that went in during the journey, where Nate's able to somehow convince MC to finish the challenge first before looking. Because the advantage was you can look whenever you want, but then you got to finish it or you lose your vote. He convinced her to kind of finish the actual challenge first so that neither of them lost their vote. Then they go ahead and look for it. And then he made sure that there's not enough time left, really. I mean, there was plenty of time, but he kind of lied to her and said there's not enough time so that she didn't find it. Here's what would have been interesting, because this was really a lackluster journey for really one reason that we didn't touch. Well, you touched on it briefly, but Jason didn't go on this journey. Jason needed to go on this journey to have any semblance of a shot of surviving to this episode. And Jawan's, rock draw thing preventing Jason from going, because that we don't know what that advantage is now. That advantage is now a dud. I mean, no one found it. So they just finished the challenge and there was no win, no lose. So that advantage maybe could have saved Jason if they went. I mean, they did go to tribal. Spoiler alert. But he didn't go on the journey, so there was no upside for either Nate or MC. MC already has the idol. I mean, if she ever loses the challenge and has to go to tribal, then she would actually get the idol and not lose her vote. Nate knows where the idol is on his camp. It's Rizzo's. So neither of them really needed to go on the journey, for being honest with each other. It was just they needed Jason to not go on the journey. So I think that was a big move from the original Uli, from Jawan specifically, to make sure that Jason did not go. But I want to hit on this briefly, because I don't know, in the beginning of the episode, Jason gets like a wake-up call. The very first scene of this episode is Jason being like, okay, the tribal lines are still very much there. I'm on the bottom. And he did what he did not do in the last episode, where he's actually talking to people on his own tribe. He's like, yeah, me and Jawan were like goofy glass. We talk about Pokemon a lot. We're kind of like the goofy nerds of the tribe. That would have been something you could have angled in the previous episode when you first got there and you weren't preaching this, oh, I like my high school.
Yeah, it felt like a day late and a dollar short. I kind of hated that. It felt like it was intentionally there to maybe sow some doubts within the tribe and show maybe this color war is finally coming to an end. But at the end of the day, A, I saw right through it, and B, you kind of lost your chance, man. Like, we kind of know where you stand, and we kind of know you're just kissing butt because Matt is gone and you have to do something. But that transitions nicely into the challenge, which was fine. It was okay. I'm kind of sick of these super simple, basic challenges. We have nothing unique anymore. It's either like some sort of obstacle course or it's redundant. At least this was an element of, you kind of had this cage in the water. They were picking them up, and eventually you had to carry it up the sand, which looked terrible. Obviously, this thing weighs a ton because it's a massive cage designed to fit all these people. So it weighs a ton. And then it's basically like a basketball shooting challenge, but everyone's going granny style, which I thought was an interesting move. Rizgad tried to shoot it like a jumper and realized maybe that wasn't going to work.
He went Rick Barry after that. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, everyone was going Rick Barry. It was over quick again. I knew who was going to win relatively quickly because the team that had more shots was probably just going to win. Rizzo is as much of a sharpshooter as he is. It's just
Looked
kind
pretty
of
good though.
the story of these challenges. I'm sick of these kind of challenges. Can we please get something a little different? Please, I am begging you. I am so sick of the same kind of stuff over and over again. It's puzzle or ball, puzzle or ball. That's all it is. Can we, get some endurance? Can we get some team element like I don't know, like a 2v2, something like that. I don't know. Just change it up a
I
little
like
bit,
those. Yeah.
please. Or I like the one-on-one stuff too. We're sending one person to do this. We're sending one person to do that.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be, there's ways around this. And naturally, like I was expecting what happened to happen this entire episode. I don't think this challenge was thrown or anything of that nature. I just think it's clear that it fits certain people's skills way better than others. And to me,
Yeah.
that's where it gets annoying. I want something where there's a little bit more of a chance, or at least something that we're not totally sure about. Like, you can make it a game where it's not necessarily luck, but it could be like a shuffleboard or like a tossing, something where you don't really know how it's going to end up.
Closest to
When
this,
it's physical and there's a tribe of 2 women, one of which has an Aten in literally days, and she has to play.
Sophie.
And the other one is also kind of losing her mind. And they are just trying to be physical. What do you think's going to happen? Okay.
Yeah, very, very
what do you
hot
think's
day.
going to happen?
Yeah, by the way, very, very hot day according to Jeff, and a physical challenge of carrying things. We kind of knew who's going to win. So yeah, there's not much. I did think the older days, the older Survivor seasons, they would do these one-on-one things where they would send one person from here, and then the next round they put one person versus another one person on that. That's how they would first to 4, first to 5, whatever it is. But this is very and I think once we get to the merge, we'll have these balance. You always see the balance immunities on the early portion of the merge. Whenever they have like individual challenges, like okay, last person to drop their ball or whatever. It's a lot of balancing, a lot of that, a lot of this. A lot of endurance, same thing. But yeah, I mean, I didn't have much on the challenge here. I did think that the winner got chickens. Did you see that? I want to briefly touch on this. The chickens. I've never seen a more dramatic chicken thing on Survivor. Where it's
Mike,
like,
I put it in the recap. I took it out because I didn't even want to deal with it. But you brought it up.
I can't believe it made 10 minutes of the show where we're getting like DoorDash privileges. I'm like, oh, I don't know how much I'd eat chicken. There's always chicken rewards on Survivor.
Hey, it's obvious when you eat a chicken that chicken passed away prior. That's pretty obvious, and I understand
we
Alex's and Steven's point of view because they actually killed it. I understand them having I'd be jarred from that. I'd be a little bit uncomfortable for sure, 100%. And then you have to defeather it. It's just it's a lot. I totally understand
that. They never aired that part, and for some reason today they did, or yesterday they did.
Yeah, but the 4 women in the water, oh Christ! I understand they weren't involved at all. They weren't involved in the process. I guess they heard some stuff, whatever.
Yeah, they heard the chicken dying, obviously. But
hey, newsflash: you're on Survivor. You're on a show where this is commonplace. And again, we don't want to tell people how to feel, and
of course not.
We have to keep prefacing this, but at the same time, it's just too much. It's every episode. It's too much. It's constant. It's clearly. The people that they're casting, they want to cast them in a certain way. They want them to think and act in a certain way. There's a way to garner diversity more so than just the skin tone that they have or the sexual orientation that they have. You can have a black guy from Tennessee and a black guy from California think exactly the same. Or you can have a black guy from Tennessee and a black guy from Michigan think totally different. It doesn't really matter what color skin they have. It matters who they are as a person. That shouldn't have to be said. I shouldn't have to say that once every other episode. That should be incredibly obvious. Yeah, but at the same time, when are we going to move on from this soap opera style of Survivor and just get an actual game where people understand it's a game and we can have someone like Alex giving a solid confessional on the matter and leave out some of the other people that weren't involved whatsoever, making a way bigger deal of this than it actually was.
Have you ever seen a chicken reward and a chicken killing take up that much time in an episode? I've never seen it take up that much time.
No, it's usually a little debate. People are grossed out. That's kind of the end of it.
Of course, but it was after the challenge, and usually after the challenge, we get the strategy of the losing tribe. Okay, we go to the losing camp, and we see what's happening strategy-wise. Yeah. Instead, we spent 15, 20 minutes on this chicken killing, where it's you get a confessional from every single person. You're Sage gets the confessional. You're it's easy for you guys to sit on the couch and judge what's going on here. And then you get people talking about DoorDash delivery, and they're like, hey, I eat DoorDash. I eat DoorDash. I eat chicken all the time. I don't think twice about it. But now you got to actually kill it, and it's like it was a lot of confession, a lot of fill. It was too much filler for a chicken killing. I mean, it happens every single.
I mean, that's kind of how food works. When you eat a steak, you're like, oh man, the pig or the cow or whatever you're eating, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
You're not usually thinking about it because it's kind of weird to think about. There's one thing to have empathy for these animals,
of course,
but obviously you're going to feel different when, like, you're Alex and you're killing it. Obviously, that's so obvious. It doesn't need 10, 15 minutes. Like, it's human nature.
Yeah, by the way, we've already spent too much time talking about the chicken, but it was too much on the episode for me. And I was just like, again, we've seen the chicken reward every single season of Survivor, almost. And it's never been this much in our face of like, yeah, by the way, guys, they're killing chickens. Like, we know. It happens every season. There's someone has to kill a chicken. We know. But they were like, it's almost like they're pushing this into the audience's faces. Like, yeah, by the way, these guys are out here killing chickens. Like,
yeah, Mike, I'm done with this. I can't. It's just, it irked me to no end yesterday, and it's irking me all over again. But current Hina has to go to Tribal.
Yep.
And they try to sow in some seeds of doubt with Juwan. Look, I understand why Savannah's annoyed with him. I think he means well. I really do. I think he's just kind of an awkward guy. I think he's just kind of maybe immature is too strong, but he's just a little goofy. He just does goofy things. I don't think he intentionally took her water bottle. I don't think he intentionally took her bag. I think it was a mistake. It's annoying that it's the same person twice. But even like the conversation, I think he just wanted to be included. I think that's all.
Yes.
That's all it was. He's just a little socially awkward. And she's taking it maybe the wrong way. I think everyone else knows, like Rizzo and Nate. I think they understand who Juwan is. Yeah. They're a little, they were a little annoyed with him, but they're like, yeah, he's a good guy. Like, you're being a little too tough on him here.
Yeah.
So that's why I never really considered that he was
going to vote him out because of that. No.
And at this point, it's exactly what we said was going to happen, and it's annoying. The color war is here. 6 OG Uli and 4 OG Hina are left. Jason, of course, gets voted out. He tries to pitch Rizzo at the last second, which I think is so dumb. Because if you're looking at the tribe dynamic, it's so obvious to me that Sophie, Rizzo, and Savannah, all around the same age, all really chill with each other. You either have to pitch Juwan, who's very clearly kind of on the outside socially, or Nate, who kind of sees himself as the father figure, the leader, but maybe the others would turn on him and be like, okay, Nate has too much influence. He has maybe too much win equity brewing. Maybe we get him out now, make a statement that there's not this color war. I could see that. But at the end of the day, 6 OG Uli, 4 OG Hina are left. And what does the show come to? Because you mentioned that my draft picks are screwed. Sure, and I'm a little upset about that. But I don't really care about that, as we all know. Obviously, I want to win. I'm a winner. I want to win. But my criticism is not based in my draft picks. My criticism is based for my love of this show and my desire to see a good Survivor season. And can this season be saved, Mike? Because, reminder, this show's edited. This isn't Big Brother. This is an edited show that they can kind of manipulate storylines. We talked about how there's going to be another tribe swap next week. So that's 2 now. They can't necessarily put people on specific tribes, but they can at least, shake it up enough. Chance is chance. Like, there's going to be people on new tribes. You're going to try to use that as a last-ditch effort if you're a producer to try to get some new dynamics in to avoid a steamroll. But it's so bad. It's like you can't get any cohesion if you're just changing tribes constantly. The pecking order being from Jason being on top 2 weeks ago to being voted out 2 weeks later because he got a different color buff feels so wrong to me. And again, he didn't help himself. And we made that very clear. He didn't help himself. But we also made it clear when it happened, I don't really know how he was going to do better than he really did at the end of the day. If they went to 2 tribals, he was probably going to be voted out in one of the 2 tribals. It's just what was going to happen. So, can the season be saved? And does the fact that we know that RIZGOD baby, Rizgod, and Savannah being on 50, doesn't that ruin something here? Because even when Jason brings up Rizzo's name, I scoffed. I was like, yeah, okay. Like, we know that, maybe on a prior season, it'd be like, oh my God, maybe they could tease something with Rizzo, like, oh, he's being a little bit annoying. And remember at the challenge, Nate kind of got annoyed at Rizzo when he was like, hey, come on. And then Rizzo catches the ball, hits Sophie on accident. Neither I thought were really Rizzo's fault, but it was just something, a little
It was
seed here and
breadcrumbs
there.
where you maybe in a prior season would be like, maybe that might send him home.
Yeah, maybe you get an edit of Sophie being like, "Oh, Rizzo's annoying me with this, whatever." I just scoffed immediately, and I'm sure you did the same because we were like, "No chance at all." So,
I said
do you
maybe
think this can be saved?
No, I don't think so. I mean, my initial notes whenever the Hina tribe lost, was Jason's done. Jason's done. They left breadcrumbs of this Jawan stealing of Savannah's bags to put like dirt in it or whatever, and they're like, that might be they might have some beef there, but of course Rizzo's like he's like the kid, and he's got these like two divorced parents, and they're both fighting with each other. Like I think it's more from Savannah's POV because I don't think Jawan has any beef with Savannah. I think it's more just Savannah has beef with Jawan, and she's kind of like unleashing that on Sophie. She's unleashing it on Rizzo. She's telling Nate, "I hate Jawan." And it's everyone else knows who it is. Everyone else knows it, but I don't think Jawan is aware that she's actually beefing with him, or maybe he would be scrambling more. But he kind of has this like initial bond with Jason, but it never goes anywhere because he knows he can't save Jason. He doesn't have the numbers for it. That's why I'm not going to critique his gameplay because I don't think what can you really do if you're Jawan in this spot? You're kind of probably on the bottom of Uli. I think he kind of knows that, and you don't have the numbers to save Jason whether you like him or not. So there's not really much saving this pre-merge because there really is no moves to be made. I mean, the tribe swap just gave us what it was. It was 4-2-1 on both sides. And there was no cracks on the 4 for Uli. Maybe if Sage or Shannon were there, maybe we'd have some cracks. But there was no cracks. There was going to be no drama once we saw the tribe swap. I mean, let's be real here. We both said it. There's going to be 4 strong Uli. They're going to vote out Jason or Matt if they go to one of the 2 tribals. Jason had to survive 2 tribal councils, which means he had to probably not lose both challenges, which unfortunately his tribe did. So he got axed. And then on the other side of it, there's that 4 Hina that's still never been to tribal council, and you have the Sage and Shannon beef. There's really no, like, that's the only storylines we have right now as far as the pre-merge goes. So no, there really is no serving the pre-merge. But now, as we teased, they're going to 3 tribes again, 3 tribes of 4. Yay, can't wait. And again, usually they merge at 12, so thankfully we get something different, I guess. But I don't know. You can't really convince me that this is any like.
It just feels like a last-ditch gimmick to try to save the season because in real time, the producers would have to know that this season is a disaster. They would have to know that. I would think.
By the way,
this doesn't come up in post-production. This is like, oh my God, we've had 5 realistic episodes of the show and nothing's happened.
But they have to go to tribal council with 4 people. And how's that going to look? It's going to be probably 3-1, boring, or it'll be 2-2 when they get like a fire.
And that's so dumb. A 2-2 tie? Like seriously?
A 2-2 tie at this point of the season is like ridiculous. Like,
would you have kept these tribes one more week and then done merge?
Yeah, I probably would have kept them one more week and then done merge because it at least gives you like had Hina lost again, they would have had to either eat one of their own or take out Sophie, one of the last remaining Kelly tribe Kelly members. So that would have been interesting. And then obviously if you had them the other tribe lose Kelly, they would have had to vote out Shannon or Sage. We finally get the end of that beef. So that would have been something. But now you have 3 tribes of 4. How are they going to go to tribal with 4 people? I think this is honestly what this is leading into is probably going to be a tribe loses and there's not going to be 4 votes. It's going to be someone loses their vote. It'll be 2-1.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you bet.
It'll be 2-1. And then the person who loses their vote is probably going to end up getting screwed. So just forewarning, you do not want to go on a journey next week because you might lose your vote and you might get screwed because there's only 4 people in your tribe. So that's another
with 10 people, would you be more content with a merge right now and just doing maybe 2 immunity necklaces? Because I saw there was some online discussion about people didn't want that, but I'd be like, hey, especially for the season, I'd much rather see that than
for this
anything
season,
else they're
doing.
Yeah,
maybe. I mean, yeah, with 12 people, you mean, because right now there's 12 people left. So you could do a merge at 12 and have 2 people win immunity, or would, because these are what they do is they have 2 separate groups of 6. They're not doing that this year, obviously, but I don't know what they're going to do for the merge. Like this tribe swap has to only last like 1 or 2 episodes, right? This can't, because after this episode, there's going to be 11 people left. Do you not merge with 11?
Yeah, and I apologize. My counting is terrible because I keep forgetting about the OG Kelly. So my bad. I've maybe got that number wrong.
2, right? Yeah,
you're right. There are 12 people left. I think I said 11 earlier in accident, but
right. Yeah, but
yeah, I think I don't know. I just want to see like some shift of power because the power is based off of where you started the season, and I think that's incredibly annoying and sets a bad precedent.
Yeah, and by the way, should I just go and spoil the 3 tribes just so that we can maybe kind of preview a little bit? Okay,
give me live reactions because I don't know.
Okay, these are live reactions. So the new Uli, which remember there was no Uli for the last 2 tribals.
By the way, change the freaking tribe names. So dumb.
please.
Because
So
we've
there's
been
this
saying like OG Hina, OG Uli. We always have to like change it. Just give them new
OG.
names.
So
Anyway, keep going.
So new Uli. Remember that this camp has been extinguished for the last 2 tribals. So
Yep.
there's now a new. They're going back to that camp. It's going to be Christina, Sophie with an IE. So the 2 people that have been on the tribe together are the exact same.
Okay.
They've been on yellow the exact. They've been on the same tribe all 3 times. So Christina, Sophie, Alex, and Nate. So Christina, Alex, and Sophie were all on this new Kella tribe.
That screws Nate so bad. That screws Nate so bad.
So he's the only original Uli on this tribe, and he's with 3 people that have. He's with Christina and Sophie, who have not been to a single tribal council. They've been lockstep yellow, and then you have Alex. Why would they want to axe Alex? So if they lose, Nate's probably in a bad spot because he's the only red member there, and the red has not lost a single tribe member all season long. So not a good spot for Nate to be in. We know Christina and Alex are tight. We've really seen no Christina Sophie dialogue, even though they've been on the same tribe.
Sophie with an IE. I saw someone the other day, I think it was Wentworth, was being sarcastic about the equal amount of confessionals going around.
Mm-hmm.
Sophie with an IE, like I was watching with my buddy yesterday. He's like, "Who is that again?" She's been so irrelevant, and I said, I really only remember her name so much because we call her Sophie with an IE every time we mention her name.
Every time. So. She was getting into it with Jeff with the reward challenge and the fruit diet. But
yeah, I'm kind of over that tribe. Hopefully, Nate deserves to stay. So it would be really terrible if he did all that work to be axed because of another swap.
Another tribe. Same thing with Jason.
But, yeah, I'm kind of over that. Keep going.
So new Kella is Steven, Sage, and Shannon, or again on the same team again. So Sage, Shannon, and Steven all stay together from this, former Kella tribe that has not gone to tribal council yet. All 3 of them have still not been to tribal council. They're now the new Kella, so they're all staying at their own camp. And then they get Jawan. So Jawan reunites with Sage and Shannon. Jawan also gets to meet Steven for the first time. And you can
I have a hot take. I think a lot of people are going to like that for Jawan, and I do too. I like this more for Shannon than anybody because I think if Shannon can miss Jawan, which I think she can. I think Jawan likes Shannon more than Sage.
Yeah.
They can get Steven to be like, okay, I guess. Like
the issue,
because he's outnumbered anyway. So I think he's just gonna have to go with them.
Yeah.
And presumably this is only a 1 to 2 episode thing.
But
I think Shannon could get out of this.
But here's the issue. Sage is not really she's kind of a double agent. She's already told Steven and the former Hina members that Rizzo has the idol, so she's not even really working with the OG Uli tribe. So if you're Steven,
but I think Shannon will maybe find this out somehow or something, and I think she just wants to cut Sage off so bad that I think Shannon wants to work with Steven. She can pitch that the second in the 222 was Jawan because presumably she didn't say that. We don't know based off the edit, but I think Shannon could maybe get out of that and get Steven back on her side.
Right. The only issue there is Steven, according to the edit, looks like he's a little bit like Sage more than Shannon, but maybe if him and Jawan talk, maybe that would change.
That's what I'm saying. I think Jawan could sway his opinion on Shannon.
Feels like that if they were to lose tribal council, it would come down to what Jawan and Steven want to do, which one they want to pick off. So that I agree.
Yeah, it feels like Jawan more than anything. It feels like Jawan's in the power position there.
Exactly right. So good move for him to get the he's now from the bottom to the top probably. So now the new Hina is MC. And she is now with Sophie, Savannah, and Rizzo.
That's fun. You want to know why that's fun? Because I think Sophie's screwed. Because, think about it like this. They would easily put 3 votes on MC, but MC has the idol. Or presumably could get the idol.
Good point.
So if MC gets the idol, MC is probably going to take out Sophie, I would think, or Savannah.
I think MC's taking a hit at red if she's doing anything.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I was just thinking because Sophie's kind of
she's a wounded animal. No one wants to take out Sophie right now. She's
well, that's kind of why I think maybe they do it because.
But if you're MC, why would you want to not take out Savannah or Rizzo? Like if
they know Rizzo's the idol, so Rizzo's off the table.
Great point.
So I was just thinking Shannon or so. You're right. Or Savannah, excuse me. You're right. You swayed me. You're right. So if MC gets hosed with that vote and doesn't have the idol, MC is as good as gone of anyone here.
100%. But the good thing for them is they do have, again, MC's a challenge beast. Rizzo's been, holding his own.
I think Rizzo's been. I think Jason fell out of standing the last 2 weeks, whether it's he was tired or what. I thought he had a bad performance in the challenge. He was bad. No puzzles as well. True. Yeah. I think Rizzo's climbed up to at least top 3, I'd say. I think Rizzo's weirdly done really well. I'd say right now my rankings would be MC's 1, clearly. I'd say Alex sneaky 2.
He's
We
been
didn't
good.
get to see it a lot, given that there was puzzles and his tribe was terrible at it, the OG KLA. But
Yeah.
right now, this fits to his strengths way better, the physical stuff. I think he's got to be 2, and then I think Rizzo is a decent blend of everything. I think he's 3. So I
Yeah.
think that's a good comp. If Sophie can just be minimally involved, she's running on empty. I don't even feel like I feel bad for her, but
I do
I'm
too.
not even like blaming her as much because at this point she's not physical like an Alex where she can kind of just replenish because
Right.
massive human being that Alex is. Sophie's obviously smaller statured, so I think she just doesn't really have a chance.
Yeah, and by the way, these 3 tribes, I'm not really sure who I'd give the early edge to as far as because we don't know what the challenges are, we don't know what the heck. But
No,
early lean, if the new Uli was to lose, I think Nate's in trouble. Unfortunately, I think he's at a bad spot there with Christina and Sophie. Never been to tribal council before. They're not going to turn on each other and get rid of another Hina member. And I think Alex is already good with Christina. Alex has never met Nate before, I don't believe. So Nate would be on the outside looking in. He's going to 3 people. He's going to a tribe of 3 people he's never worked with before. On
real
either
quick,
tribe.
Mike, I want to give you a pitch. Here's what should happen, and no one's going to do this, but they should. Rizzo, Sophie, and Savannah have to know that MC is going to feel like the outlier. Do you know how you make them not feel like the outlier? You stage this dramatic beef with Sophie immediately when you get to camp because they have no information about Sophie at all. MC knows nothing really about Sophie. So you stage something like Sophie, in an attempt to eat, took all the coconuts. You stage some nonsense. And you have Rizzo tap into that acting skills. You have Savannah tap into that news anchor background. And you give them a performance of a lifetime. And then MC feels comfortable, doesn't even care as much about the idol, and you vote her out. I haven't seen anyone do this with that much kind of switching around. When you have people that are together the whole time, like Savannah and Rizgod, use it to your advantage. And I feel like no one really has. They haven't had to per se yet, but this would be the time to do it.
If you're MC, you're going to a tribe of Sophie, Savannah, and Rizzo. You never met any one of those 3 people. So if you're MC though, the good information you do have from Sage, ironically enough, is that Rizzo has the idol in this case because they lost the challenge and that that he probably had his vote, so he had to find the idol. So if you're MC, Rizzo's probably safe. And if you have to somehow dissect the Sophie Savannah beef, maybe, but I think if you're MC and one person in your tribe already has an idol, you now need to make sure you get one so that you're safe as well. And then it's between legitimately 2 people. So I think if you're MC, I think MC will be able to read through that, even if they're able to stage like some high school
maybe. But I feel like when you're on the island, if you can tap into those acting chops, you can get some stuff done. We've seen it before.
We have, but I think if you're MC in a tribe of 4, there's nowhere to hide. So I think she needs to go ahead and get that idol for her. And especially when
she has to, yeah.
When she's theoretically on the outs. I mean, Rizzo, Savannah, and Sophie have just spent the last 2.
But I mean, she might not play it if that situation comes. She obviously needs to get it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying she might not play it immediately, which is in a normal situation, she'd just say, "Hey, Jeff, before this even starts, like, here you go. Like, I know they're voting me, so we're gonna figure out who they want out."
By the way, I don't think they're going to lose the challenge, so I don't think this will really matter.
I don't think so either.
I think MC's just too good at these challenges. But yeah, I think that ultimately, if I had to make a preview guess before we wrap up, I think that we're still the preview is still showing this Shannon Sage beef, and by the way, they're on the same tribe again. So eventually, we're going to lose.
I don't know if this is a zag. I have Sage.
I do too. I think Sage or Shannon. I think my lean would be Sage.
The undrafted free agent that is yet to be claimed
she's still unclaimed. By the way, I know I've lost 3 members. You've lost 2 members. I think that we still are not going to take Sage.
2 higher draft picks though. Not good. Not good for me.
Your 4th pick and your 8th pick are off the board, but or I guess your 2nd pick and your 4th pick, but they went 4th overall and 8th overall in the draft. I'm keeping track of it on our little notes here, but yeah, Sage still undrafted. Still does not want any part of any of our teams. So. We're good on Sage.
Yeah, we don't want her either, so that's okay. But next week, it seems like we'll have a lot more to talk about, so that'll be good. We'll see these tribal alliances. Do you like the 90-minute episodes?
No, I don't need.
I don't either.
Especially when there's 10, 15 minutes spending on chickens and weird stuff that really doesn't have anything to do with strategy at all. It's just not much.
I think if the season's good, for me, it's like I want as much Survivor as I can get, like 47. Yeah. Like, give me the 90 minutes. But
it's actually
this season, no, forget it. I'm out. But hopefully, we can talk about more. Maybe I'll make some Survivor content as well independently. Right now, it's just guys, it's tough to talk about. I know we just went 45 minutes, but this is kind of our therapy on the show. Going beyond this is a bit tough. In a few weeks, so the Jays play next Wednesday, Game 5, if necessary. I presume it will be. I don't think they're going to get swept. The week afterwards, so episode 7, maybe I thought about maybe going live. So be on the lookout for that.
Okay.
We could do a live after the episode, during, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Once baseball's done, basketball's in its infancy, we can hit that. So
yeah, that'll be good. I think that'll be once we get the baseball season over with, and after the first 2 weeks of opening NBA stuff, that we kind of go into a little bit of a rut as far as that goes, and then obviously we get football season really kicked up after Thanksgiving. That's really or after Halloween, football season really.
Yeah, as soon as the NBA Cup goes on, I take maybe a week or two break. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch 80% of this instead of 100% like normally.
Exactly right. We'll dive a little bit less into the NBA stuff.
Anyway, we'll be back in a few days for something, presumably some NFL. We'll probably tap into that. The schedule's a bit wonky, guys, but every Thursday, we're here with Gurus on Reality. Like I teased, maybe Wednesday in a few weeks, maybe we'll do a live something after the episode, whatever. But regardless, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to check out the NBA episode that we just did on the opening slate of games. 28 of 30 teams have already played, so make sure you watch that. That is Mike Testa. I am Xavier Aguiar. I enjoyed this, and we will see you next time.